The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Dan Eve, the Crypto Raptor.
Matt Damon.
Ben Ark from LN Bits.
Hello, good evening.
Eric Benz, a CanadaO contributor.
Yo, yo.
Josh Shigala from the Standard.io.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there.
And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue one. Issue one, Bitcoin tops 40K for the first time in 2 weeks. The price dipped Friday after the U.S. jobs report for January, but reversed as traders grew more confident that the downside is limited. Dan, here we are once again with everyone's favorite Bitcoin question. Is the price of Bitcoin back, or could it go down again?
The price of Bitcoin never left. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. It's that continuous cycle, right? I still love the fact that they're always trying to attribute something to the drop, like, you know, afterwards. It's like, oh right, well, you know, a butterfly like flapped his wings, and therefore, you know, therefore the Bitcoin price went down, and then so and such as happened, and it went up again. But it seems like this pump's happened. Like some of the big news is, you know, around the SEC regulation and stuff. So it's interesting that it's gone. Is kind of pumped so much. You'd have thought that would usually sort of drag the markets a bit, but didn't Russia U-turn as well, or not quite U-turn, but they said they're going to regulate it a bit more. So that was maybe seen as a positive thing, right? Because the last dump may have happened. I'm doing it now. Like, oh, the last dump happened after Russia said that it was going to back. Like, it's so easy to do that, right? But at the end of the day, it goes up, it comes down. You know, it's a bit volatile. The rest of the markets are really volatile right now, all the indexes. So, you know, Bitcoin just is not following the ride, but, you know, everyone's really hesitant where to put their money. Even the Bank of England have just raised the interest rate. So, you know, maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. Like, you can just pin the tail on the donkey, pin the tail on the Bitcoin donkey, I say.
The Russian central bank still not a fan, but the Russian government seems to think Bitcoin's okay. Ben Ark, your thoughts on the price of Bitcoin?
I mean, we probably just ran out of sellers, you know, like everyone who wanted to sell their Bitcoin sold their Bitcoin, and there's not many people left. You got that bedrock of hodlers, which gets ever bigger with every pump and every price move we have. But let's also forget it's been the Chinese New Year. So there's a lot of Chinese people off at the moment partying, talking about Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin as well. So I'm sure it's related to this news from, you know, this positive news from the American economy, but, you know, it's not just an American-centric phenomenon, Bitcoin, and Chinese like to buy Bitcoin. So they're all at home, you know, getting through that Chinese firewall, buying their bits, and we've also run out of sellers. So yeah, price goes up. There was some quite heavy resistance, so we popped through a couple of resistance zones as we were making our way down, which I didn't think it was going to do. I thought it was going to bounce off. So yeah, we just ran out of people to sell Bitcoin.
Eric Benz, Year of the Tiger, Chinese Bitcoin waking up.
Well, you know why? I mean, it's you know, we've been doing this for so long, and we've seen it happen so many times. This rubber band effect. And oh my God, it's 2 weeks since 40K. It's like 2 fucking years or something. You know, it's like, holy shit, can we get our shit together and just get with the program, buy Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin, leave Bitcoin, and go. Right. And, you know, it's becoming like this whole like, oh, well, what can we say today to wake things up? Oh, Bitcoin's over 40K. Well, good fucking day for Bitcoin. What about my own fucking coin? But nevertheless, I think it's been great. And I'm excited. Anytime Bitcoin comes to dance and play, Eric's got a lot to say.
Josh Shigala, are the Bitcoin troubles over?
The Bitcoin troubles are over, folks. Go back. Everyone start partying again. No, yeah, it goes up and down. It goes, yeah. Look, it's like you said, it was only 2 weeks ago where it was 40 or something, you know, like the time right now is to build cool stuff, build on the networks that you love to build on, and just get on with it.
I like how everybody's life was crashing 2 weeks ago. Like everybody was in such an emotional state. Everybody was fighting with their partners. Everybody was giving up. Everybody was throwing in the towel. Everybody was just looking for other jobs. But now we're on top of the fucking world and we're going to do it again and again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
everyone was liquidated.
I love those Twitter accounts where they show, oh, Bitcoin at this time last year, we were excited at 40K. Now we're despondent at 40K. Now we're excited at 60K. Now we're like, oh, it's not good enough. It just keeps happening. And it's only been 2 weeks. Like you guys said, it's like a long lost lover. Like, oh, I haven't seen you in so long, Bitcoin. But that's also good because we're back home. And that means it's time for you to predict against the predictor of predictors, the Bitcoin predictor ball. Dan, will the price of Bitcoin be higher or lower this time next week?
I'm going higher.
Ben Ark.
I'm going to go lower because I always go higher. So I'm just going to go lower.
Eric Benz, we got one on one side, one on the other.
My business is about being high. Therefore, Bitcoin must be high.
Josh Agala, will you go higher?
Bitcoin has taken a way massive overdose of Viagra.
Bitcoin got too high, but now will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week?
Come on, baby.
Says concentrate and ask again. Concentrate and ask again.
Lame.
Even the greatest of predictors doesn't work every time. Like some
Do
kind of
it. Concentrate
circus
properly.
munch.
Do it again.
Yeah,
You can't just ask again right away. It'll get upset. It's aware on that one. It's like no wishing for no more wishes. It's on to that. Moving on to issue 2. Kraken verifies funds. It's something that we asked for almost 10 years ago, and now Kraken's finally done it. The company recently passed an independent audit on its Bitcoin holdings and has enabled a proof of reserve feature to its customers. The only problem is, does anyone care? Coinbase has an IPO. Kraken is proving their reserves like some kind of fly-by-night going to run off with your money reserve. Ben Ark, Kraken has performed the cryptographically impossible. They have proved their reserves in a way that makes their security people still feel warm and fuzzy at night. Does anyone care?
Yeah, I mean, I like Kraken, and I know, they have a hard time with Coinbase taking and Gemini as well, taking all the market share. And Kraken, I mean, it's dependable. It's the longest running exchange that hasn't been hacked, and sometimes its UI is a bit sucky. But the reason it's a bit sucky is they don't mess with anything. It works, and they just don't want to touch it. They don't want to fiddle with it too much. So they've roped in this other company to do their proof of reserve thing, and good for them. I like it. I know it's like an easy thing to do with Bitcoin, obviously, but there is now, using some crazy Merkle trees or something, some way of them being able to, some way of customers being able to verify that the funds are actually there, which they say are there, and that's a good thing. Good for Kraken. I like the exchange. I like the people who work there, and yeah.
Now, I'm not allowed to make fun of Kraken because I went to college with the founder, but their interface is the hardest to use interface in crypto. They have things like XBT, and if you want Doge, you have to trade, I don't know, XDJZ. I don't know, they're all different. They have different names for everything.
Sometimes you'll click a button to one page, and then you'll use a different button to get to the same page, but it'll kind of look different, and you'll think, well, surely this is the same page.
Well, there's a beginner, intermediate, and advanced mode, like it's a role-playing game, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm an advanced trader, maybe intermediate, certainly not basic.
Am I missing something? I mean, doesn't it have Kraken in the name?
It's true, actually. Yeah.
You need to be high to navigate.
It's like the hockey team.
I don't understand, there's a lot I don't understand. I'm not going to pretend I understand everything.
Coinbase has base in the name as well, to be fair. So.
The UI and the UX and the whole experience, I don't want to have an emotional breakdown. I already have one on a daily basis, right? So when I'm using an exchange, I don't want to have any fucking problems. Therefore, I want it to be intuitive. I want it to be avant-garde. I want it to be fun, right? I want it to be simple. Therefore, I choose not to use Kraken.
Oh, sick burn. What about the proof of reserves? Does anyone care? I mean, I cared 10 years ago, back when it was like Mt. Gox and Kraken and Sheep Marketplace. And I was like, gosh, if they could prove their reserves, that would make me feel warm and fuzzy. But now it's like Coinbase is on the stock market. Like I'm warm and fuzzy all over. I don't care.
Yeah, well, look, this was exactly why I launched Vaultoro, actually. Actually, we turned 8 years old on Tuesday. 8 years of Vaultoro. And the reason why we started Vaultoro is because I lost a lot of money in Mt. Gox. And so I wanted to build the most transparent exchange in the world. And I did. There was the system that Peter Todd and Gregory Maxwell came up, which was called Proof of Reserve, which Kraken still uses a Merkle root to basically figure out, to just give you a green tick and go, believe us, the math, believe the math. But no one believes the math. Everyone's like, what? I don't get it. And crack smoking grandma definitely doesn't get it. So, we basically built a really simple proof of reserve where you give every user an anonymous ID, and then when they log out of the system, you print every single anonymous ID and the amount of Bitcoin, and you put the cold wallet addresses, and you can put the hot wallet addresses in some sort of way of quickly checking the entire blockchain on all those addresses. The thing is, Kraken has a hell of a lot of those addresses, so there might need to be a pub key or something like that you can check, but you can do it, and it means that if anyone's you can check without Kraken knowing you're checking, and actually see how much Kraken should have, and sum up the holdings of everybody as well, and compare that to the cold wallet addresses. Even if there's a deviation there, and you say, well, 80% of the coins should be in cold, so that should be easy to check. I'm still surprised that they go with the old school auditor that goes in there, and like we had with Roger Ver going into Mt. Gox going, yes, I have seen the accounts and everything looks good to me. That was kind of what the audit did for Mt. Gox. But really, the way to build true transparency is with mechanisms where the user can check. I mean, this is the beautiful thing about Bitcoin, is that it has the blockchain. You can check it, and that's not only Bitcoin; it's other chains as well. You know, the thing with what Satoshi invented is how transparent it is. Yeah, maybe not with Monero, but I think even they can show the proofs. I'm not sure too sure about Monero, but yeah, it's definitely something that should be praised. We should in this industry be better than the banks, and that's really, really important. We should be better than the legacy system that you know, and it's quite easy to do. But the fact of the matter is, when we launched Vaultoro, and I wanted every exchange to take this glass books protocol that I invented, no one did. No one did, even years on, and maybe they don't care anymore. People just tend to run off with millions and millions of dollars, 200 million bucks here, and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, it doesn't even touch the edge of the price anymore.
I'm being told that crack smoking grandma trades at crypto.com.
Oh, well, fortune favors the brave.
There it is. But yes, bravo to Josh and Vaultoro for making an open protocols book like this that you could see. And bravo to Kraken too, even if it's 10 years too late and no one cares. The main reason for this is to use it as a club against your opponents. Now Kraken can pick on Coinbase and Gemini and say, hey, you're not proving your reserves. What kind of fishy business are you up to? Or are you some kind of Binance? But I don't know if it's going to really improve Kraken or sell them in the next commercial. Dan, Eve, will Matt Damon be talking about cryptographic proof of reserves in his next commercial? Is this something that consumers care about? Yes or no?
The wider public still, I think, likes to have someone to have a go at. They're not responsible enough to have control of their private keys, and I think that you know, people like, even like my mum, for example, she's like, I don't want to have this like digital wallet. If I have anything, it's going to be on Coinbase or something where I can phone up and just moan at them if something goes wrong. One thing I was thinking was, this year we've missed like proof of keys, right? Trace Mayer used to do a proof of keys every year, and actually, it doesn't look like he's tweeted it since the 10th of January the 10th, 2020, when he was laughing at Cobinhood, which was one of the older ICOs in 2017. I think they got like, didn't they get like a boxer or something? I'm sure a boxer was promoting them, and the boxer got their knuckles wrapped and all sorts. But yeah, so the thing is with proof of keys, a reminder of that is that if it's not your keys, it's not your Bitcoin. And so, whilst very, you know, you can respect Kraken obviously for being able to prove cryptographically that you know that via the Merkle tree. So Angela Merkel tree. No, it's not, nothing to do with Angela Merkel, but it's a Merkle tree. But whilst they can prove that, there's also the thing that, you know, who audits the auditors, right? There's still a third party trust thing going on. So it's not always, you know, you're still putting your trust in someone. But Kraken are like the longest running exchange that haven't been hacked. So hats off to Kraken for smashing it in that respect. And hopefully they maintain that record over all the other exchanges. So congratulations.
Ben Ark, will the customers be congratulating Kraken?
Yeah, it's good for the customers. I mean, I will say that it's great to be able to, if you've had an exchange running that long, to turn around and say, yeah, we have actually got the funds, because, you know, these things do get hacked a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of the main name exchanges wouldn't want to go anywhere near proving their funds cryptographically, that the funds actually exist, because they don't all exist. Yeah, it's great for the customers of Kraken. But then I will say that proving funds exist currently doesn't mean that they'll exist tomorrow. So, you know, don't leave your funds on an exchange. It just means that these guys have managed to kind of like keep their ship shape for however many years Kraken's been running, which is great. And it's an achievement. Well done to them. But it doesn't mean you should entrust them with all your money. Get it off as soon as you can.
I second that. I absolutely second that.
Josh Shikala, all funds are safe.
Yeah, all funds are safe. Actually, the thing about Trace Mayer thing of the key proving day, it was really annoying as an exchange guy, because it was, the day was like straight after Christmas, New Year. It was like January the 3rd. It was like everyone's running on skeleton crew, and hopefully your keys are that safe that it takes a lot of there's a lot of cogs that need to move to like do stuff and sign keys and everything. And it was always an annoying day. Like, can you make it the first day of February when, you know, the staff are back and you've got, you know, things going on? That was my only.
It also had a lot of libertarian bank busting to it, where they wanted you to withdraw all of your funds from the exchanges on that day, so that they had to prove that they had your keys. Now, sure, they probably have your keys, but they're in cold storage and they have to access them. Like you're saying, January 3rd, right after the turn of the new year. Maybe your guy that accesses the keys isn't there. Maybe you need parts of the key from halfway around the world. It's very complicated.
Absolutely. Any
Trace has everybody withdrawing them because he likes the idea of a bank run. He thinks it's funny.
Yeah, and that's right. Every exchange that is actually solid and secure has a really tricky multi-sig cold wallet system going on. You know, it's the only way to go, and try to like orchestrate that is happening smoothly while there's a bank run on January the freaking 3rd is kind of annoying. Like I still think it should be something that should be done. It should be part of the crypto culture, but can we make it like in February?
Maybe randomized, like a week ahead. They're like, right, this is proof of keys at such and such exchange.
Yeah,
so it really keeps the security on their toes.
Keeps them on their toes.
It seems like obviously that they're trying to spur it on, right? They want people to prep up for it almost, because otherwise, well, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, like in 2007 or 2008, when the guy was like, if you're banking with Northern Rock, you probably want to get some money out because they're going to, and then everyone went, fuck, my money. And then Northern Rock dumped literally after that. And so it was that self-fulfilling prophecy. And yeah, it's definitely keeping them on their toes.
It's like hard drive backup day. If you don't do it on the first, you always wish you did it on the first. Eric Benz, your thoughts on, do consumers care about proof of reserves, the stunning new feature from Kraken?
As a consumer myself, I wake up every day and accept the pain and suffering of 3 to 5%, meaning I always leave margin for error and cost. So as far as I'm concerned, they have it, they don't have it. I got other shit going on, and happy to know that they're trying. I think effort is really commendable, but at the end of the day, as an average consumer like myself, I think you know where I'm going with that.
You can always put some extra in the exchange. You know, if there's one of those worm programs that's going along, munching a few cents here or there, who's going to notice that kind of thing? It's not super.
No problem.
No problem.
One you want to put something on my account? You want to take fees from it? Kraken, Coinbase, whoever you are. Like, I'm just a simple person, and when I have simple needs, and you want me to pay $9.99 a month, like Spotify, like all these fucking other things, like these fucking Roblox fees coming in, like for my kids, like whatever you want it, take it. I got other shit to deal with.
And there was actually a legitimate bank that on Christmas Eve dropped a bunch of money into people's accounts by mistake, admitted their mistake, and took all of the money back. They didn't even let them keep any of it. So it's pretty standard out there. Moving on to issue 2, the SEC introduces a Trojan horse of crypto regulation. I thought Bitcoin was supposed to be the Trojan horse. Last week, the SEC released a seemingly unrelated 654-page plan aimed at regulating treasury market platforms. Pro Commissioner Hester Pierce, however, warns that it's sweeping crypto regulation in surprise. Meanwhile, Michael Saylor would prefer crypto regulation, saying that it would be great and it would speed institutional adoption. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on the SEC's Trojan horse Bitcoin legislation and Michael Saylor's plan that regulation would be A-OK by him?
You know, the thing is that these regulators feel like they just need to have some sort of rule, like some rules that they can throw at something to feel important. But the fact of the matter is, really what you want to do is have general rules around, not losing your keys for the customers, stuff like that. And that's what the market figures out itself, because they stop using exchange. Things like what Kraken's doing is fantastic. These are the true regulations that happen as people hopefully demand, seeing proof of reserve, but I don't think people do. And so maybe this is why governments step in with their superhero capes and say, we'll save you everybody with our regulations. But generally what happens when regulation comes in is that the industry leaders write the regulations to protect themselves, and it's called regulatory capture. And it generally is the same thing that's happened to the banks, where banks write regulations to protect themselves from startups to overtake them. And we'll see the same thing in Bitcoin and crypto, where these big players will end up, making it very, very hard for new players to come along and actually eat that regulation. They'll have paperwork up to their eyebrows every weekend. They just can't deal with it. The overheads will be too big. And then all the large players, usually a duopoly, as we like to see in the Western world, will end up, and then everyone will be like, oh, well, what, we've got choice. We've got 2 big players here, and they're really good. And thank God they're regulated.
You can drink Coke or Pepsi. Eric Benz, is crypto regulation good for Coinbase or great for Coinbase?
I just want to start off by saying I love Coinbase. Now, obviously, regulation in Bitcoin. You have Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin at its very core was built to avoid regulation, and now you have regulators fucking trying to fit regulatory things on this protocol that's been designed to avoid it. And you're taking legacy, antiquated things and, you know, putting it on this bit of technology, and it's just not going to work. It's not what you would call a perfect marriage, right? So trying to come up with all these antiquated regulatory frameworks for Bitcoin, it's boring. If you want to do something new, do something innovative, be better, be a better reflection than yourself, right? As your therapist says when you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror. What do you see? You see someone better and bigger. Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to put regulation there, well, then let's look at Bitcoin holistically, right? And say, okay, well, what can we actually leverage here? And how can we work within this network and this framework to make something that's more efficient and better for humanity, to make the world a smaller place, and we can have that connectivity that we're looking for. Are you going to get it from Bitcoin? Probably not. So I don't know why you're wasting your fucking time.
In the future, you can spend any crypto you want. You just need one of those cha-chunk machines. Cha-chunk, cha-chunk. Dan,
don't get me started.
Your thoughts on crypto regulation?
Well, like, you know, for the core Bitcoin principles is that, you know, governments can't get their hands on it. It was born out of the financial crisis, which kind of in a way was because of a lack of regulation. But so it's kind of, I don't know, it's a bit of a not an oxymoron, but although, yeah, Bitcoin should, as an old Bitcoiner, when you're, you know, you don't want to be regulated, right? The whole point is freedom. It's about, it's a freedom thing. It's not being able to, someone being able to take your, you know, private keys. Whereas I think from Michael Saylor's perspective, you know, he's of the opinion that he's an institution, right? He's a big, you know, MicroStrategy is an institution. So of course he's going to be of the opinion of like, oh, regulate me, daddy, Uncle Sam. Oh yeah, because that means that other institutions are going to come in, and let's face it, institutions are big money. So I think there's definitely like, there's a bit of a, I don't know, there's a bit of bias there because of the fact that he is an institution, part of an institution himself. But also, yeah, the positive part is that big money's going to enter the space, and that's just part of it, right? You know, it was a utopian dream, I think, that everyone would have Bitcoin before, you know, the traditional investment firms and stuff would actually get their hands on it. And whilst that kind of like happened a bit, and all the crazy people like us had Bitcoin or were into it a long time ago, it was only a matter of time before the institutions and the banks start, you know, siphoning it away from everyone. You know, all the cold and weak hands who you know, crap themselves when Bitcoin goes from like 67k down to like, you know, 35k, and suddenly as Eric was saying, like, they're like, oh my god, you know, chicken lick in the sky's falling down, you know, and that's it. It just transfers. The money just transfers, or the Bitcoin just transfers from the weak hands that can't take the drops to the institutions that know, sadly, regulation is coming. Yeah, I mean, they know that once regulation does happen, it means that it's more likely that other banks are going to get involved, and when other banks get involved, they've got a lot more money than, you know, a few average Joes and Janes on the street. So yeah, I think regulation, sadly, is inevitable with Bitcoin, purely because it's kind of like, well, it's going to happen, right? It couldn't have stayed under the radar for forever, and so they're going to try and regulate it in some way. We've just got to hope that the regulation isn't throttling and doesn't throttle innovation and take away the freedoms that everyone's enjoyed thus far.
Ben Ark, my cousin's sister's best friend lost a lot of money on Dogecoin. Will regulation help her get it back?
It's still the problem with regulation is it's still an attack on privacy, because it's you know, privacy being, from the Cypher Manifesto, the ability to selectively reveal yourself to the world. So selectively, you know, but if you're forced to reveal yourself, then that's not really privacy, and it is attack on privacy if they're attacking your ability to selectively reveal yourself. So if Saylor wants to reveal himself to the world, then you can go ahead, but the ability should be there for other people to not have to reveal themselves in public. But I think you we all expected government to kind of like attack Bitcoin full on, and a lot of Bitcoiners kind of ready for it, and they were just going to take down Bitcoin, make it illegal. But they didn't, I still love that. I think it's that Biden quote where he said that when he was talking about sanctions and how they now have to address how they do sanctions because Bitcoin exists, not we have to attack this thing and destroy it because it screws up our way of doing sanctions. So they understand that they can't, attack Bitcoin head on. So they have to bite the heels. But by biting the heels of Bitcoin, by attacking where they can through, these centralized services, they're hardening the Bitcoin ecosystem because people will turn, because they want that privacy, so they'll turn to, free and open source, decentralized exchange systems, or more focus will be put into those areas as the, these regulations kind of bite the heels of Bitcoin. So it's just hardening Bitcoin. But they need to regulate, as far as they're concerned, this industry, because compared to other industries, it's not regulated as much. And then for the Michael Saylors of this world, they like it because it means all these institutional investors can come in. But of course, Bitcoiners shouldn't just lay down and take it. Like, it is an attack on privacy ultimately.
Josh Shigala, the lack of regulation is what's been holding us back. It's going to get us the big money players, all the successes.
The government's going to do what governments are going to do. They're going to pretend they've got some sort of control over this, and basically they'll crush it in their country. They've been really scared to just put some ridiculous regulations in because they don't understand it, and they still don't understand it. Sadly, I think general money laundering and anti-money laundering and terrorist financing stuff is what they understand and how to beat that. And that all comes down to KYC stuff. So I think it's always on and off ramps that will basically deal with these regulations. But the problem is, as more and more of the stable cryptocurrencies come along, there's no real need for the on and off ramps. And so it's really the new money coming in that's the only thing that can be regulated. Everything else is, once it's in, and yeah, I think all they can really do is say that it's illegal or it's not illegal. And we saw the price rallying. It might be something to do with India actually saying it's legal now. It's just that they're going to tax the hell out of it. That's an economy pretty much close to China. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with regulations.
It's like the old meme. Someday, Neo, will I be able to sell my Bitcoin for $1 million? Someday, you won't even have to. Moving on to the exit question. Forced prediction, yes or no. Will the United States government be successful in regulating Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies? Eric Benz.
Regulating cryptocurrencies, will they be successful? The cool thing about technology and the cool thing about what we've been doing for so long is the fact that it's moving at such an exponential rate. And before, you had cycles specifically related to technology or industry or whatever. No cycle is actually different from one another, but those cycles are all very 10-year cycles. In crypto, it's kind of like half, so 5 years. And this what I'm trying to say is that because it's moving so quickly, and if they want to try and put on that regulation and go about what they need to do, well then innovation will always circumvent regulation, and it will always be elevated to a point where regulation and laws and rules won't be able to catch up. And you see this problem right now because you have regulatory measures and things that have been written, pre-credit card, so pre-internet. And we're now trying to, as the saying goes where I come from, in the metaverse by Mark, you can't square a circle, right? So you can't force something that's not meant to be there. And if you do, then the technology and is going to advance to a point where it'll be doing something else and something else. and something else. And so it's going to be this like continuous effect upon effect upon effect to not avoid, but to do things in a more creative, more efficient, more peer-to-peer driven scenario. And yes, we won't need their regulation because I'm going to let people regulate me, and I'm going to regulate people, and we're going to regulate each other, and we're going to build this trustless economy together.
Dan, Eve, will they regulate?
Well, I think banning Bitcoin is a massive game of whack-a-mole that's impossible to win, and regulating it is just a slightly less impossible game. There's always, in our current every market that's regulated, there's massive loopholes in almost everything. Whether it's tax, they're still trying to plug up loopholes around like IR35, like in the contractors. How the way contractors do tax in the UK, and there'll always be loopholes around it, right? That's just the way things work. So I think Eric's spot on with the fact that the technology is moving so fast that these loopholes will be created, and yeah, it's just a never-ending, impossible game of whack-a-mole trying to regulate Bitcoin. It's almost like it becomes a black hole. Once the money's in there, there's so many things you can do to swap for this chain, that chain, another chain. And as much as you've got firms like Chainalysis that are snooping on everything, there will always be technologies that evade Chainalysis. It's just a cat and mouse game.
Ben Ark, surely someone must take the government side after all.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Surely they'll be successful with their regulation.
They're merely fanning the flames of the technology, which will ultimately regulate government and hold government to account. So they're just hardening the technology, which will ultimately be turned on them. And as Josh said before, it must be better than the banks. When they say, oh, we're going to regulate this, we're going to regulate that, eventually it'll just be, it's an embarrassment. We're like, well, look, we can prove where all the funds are. We can prove this, we can prove that. Can you prove any of these things? And the technology will just be turned against them, and it'll be used on them ultimately, eventually. So they're just increasing that process, the speed of that process, by attacking and hardening Bitcoin.
The more they regulate on us, the more we regulate back on them. Rally up, regulators, ride up. Josh Sigala, will the government succeed?
Nah. I mean, they'll succeed in the on and off ramps. And they'll succeed by driving real companies and competing companies offshore. Crypto was, when you go to America, you use US dollars. When you go to the UK, you use British pounds. When you go to the internet, you use crypto, Bitcoin, whatever you want. And so that you have no power here.
What if you use Kazakhstan?
Oh yeah. Well,
I heard they're doing phenomenal non-regulation for crypto.
I mean, they shut down the whole internet, but Chuck Norris just keeps mining by hand. So
as long as Chuck Norris is there. All right, moving on to the next issue. Check out the WCN Clips account on YouTube by Googling WCN Clips. We've got clips of this show and other shows on the World Crypto Network at WCN Clips. Moving on to issue 4. El Salvador's Chivo Bitcoin wallet software developer replaced after complaints about ID theft and disappearing funds. As what'll come as a surprise to no one, El Salvador's Chivo wallet is now being run by software developer AlphaPoint, who is going to improve the Chivo backdoor Bitcoin wallet. People using the wallet have complained about identity theft and disappearing funds. El Salvador issued the wallets to its citizens last year after it adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. Ben Ark, your thoughts on the long overdue switch from make it your own software to professionals from AlphaPoint?
I mean, yeah, I've been very critical of the Chivo wallet. When I went to El Salvador, it was terrible. What was very reassuring was the people using Chivo would then soon figure out they need to switch to a more functional wallet. But the funds were locked in. When you make a Chivo, when you make a payment from one Chivo wallet to another Chivo wallet, you're not doing a Bitcoin payment. You're just doing a database flip. And then to be able to actually get to the Bitcoin functionality in Chivo, you had to go to a lot of different memories menus in order to be able to unlock Lightning and on-chain. So all those funds which the government said that they gave to the people, they hadn't actually given to the people. And then it was said that Athena's obviously was building Chivo, and then Bukele's brother owns a good portion of that company. And the Athena offices were like something out of some utopia. They're incredible. You know, it's not those sandy, dusty roads which you saw Jack Mallers walking along. It was a very modern glass building, and had these wrapped cars, these wrapped Athena cards. So I will assume that this new company which is being brought in, there is some vested interest for the inner circles of government. Of course there is, or there's been some shares bought, I don't know, whatever. But I mean, I know as well, like partly why Athena sucked for the Lightning stuff, because I know they weren't running their own back end, and I know who was running the back end, and I also know why it was bad. Like a lot of the endpoints for so you know, like the webhook for when a payment had been settled, which would then hit the Chivo wallet. For some reason, Chivo wallet just blocked that webhook from happening, the WebSocket from happening. So, and this is from the words of the people who are actually running the Lightning stuff for Chivo. So Athena itself had just like outsourced a lot of the management of the architecture of Chivo wallet. So to these other companies, which actually had good technology, but they just implemented the technology very, very badly. So yeah, I'm very critical of Chivo. I can't imagine it's going to get better anytime soon. And if it does, then there'll be some vested interest for, you know, government. Use some free and open source wallet. Use Blue Wallet's a great wallet. Bitcoin Lightning Wallet's a great wallet. Zeus, whatever. Like there's plenty of great Bitcoin wallets, and use those over something like Chivo.
And
because
is there a reason for El Salvador to have to make their own Bitcoin wallet?
Yeah, it's exactly what you expect. No, it's exactly what you expect.
Put a language back on an existing wallet and just translated the send button into the local.
Well, it's just control, isn't it? Because they want to give. So if they had Blue Wallet, I don't know if they had like an open source wallet or a wallet which was more transparent, and then they gave everyone funds, then people would then use those funds and pull them out onto other wallets, and they would be doing actual Bitcoin transactions. Whereas they couldn't have that happen with Chivo, because I can't imagine that they put all the funds in there with the $20, whatever they said they gave to everybody. So it's just exactly as a state would implement Bitcoin if it was done as El Salvador did it. They want control. I mean, look at when I was there was absolutely no sign of strike, you know. So all this talk, all this, you know, bravado on stage. Well, not bravado, but you know, Jack Mallers when he announced on stage, and then he had Bukele on there. It seemed like this great partnership, and because it's remittance technology which is going to be used, blah blah blah, and I saw nothing of strike. It's been elbowed out by Athena, by Chivo, and there's great Bitcoin Lightning wallets out there. I mean, like, why I found a lot of the people in El Salvador, they're using Ibex's wallet. Ibex is a bank in Guatemala. They got a really good Bitcoin Lightning wallet. It's custodial, but it's great. So they were using that. But yeah, I mean, I know people behind the architecture of the architecture which Chivo was running on, and it wasn't their fault that Chivo was such a piece of shit. It was Athena, which was, you know, part owned by Bukele's brother, like I said. So, I mean, yeah, I can't imagine that Chivo is going to become something which I would use anytime soon, you know. So, yeah, for the people of El Salvador, please use one of the great free and open source wallets we've got in Bitcoin. We've got plenty.
It's clear it's hard to design a wallet when you have different goals. Like you're saying, the original Chivo wallet had this feature where if you were going to say drop $20 on every person in El Salvador, you didn't actually have to drop it. You could just say that. And then maybe if they jump through some hoops, then you give them the $20. It saves a lot of money that way. I can see what they're saying. We also have to remember that it had that briefcase feature where they were going to try to find out how many Bitcoin you could fit in one briefcase. And if it was like an entire country's treasury or half the treasury or third of the treasury, whatever it is. So we got to still watch, see if they keep those kind of features. Josh Shigala, what do you think about this company coming in to fix Chivo wallet? Again, something that we don't really need. We could just use a language pack on Blue Wallet or something, right?
Yeah, but like Ben said, if you know, you're launching something, you want some official government nonsense, and it's typical. Like any government's going to do a crap job at building a Bitcoin wallet. So it's just is what it is. They're just crap at executing anything. You know, in East Germany, you had everyone had a right to a car. But they had one car called the Trabant, and you had to order the car when your baby was born, so that when your child turns 17 or 16, the car would be ready by then. And literally, it took 16 years to build the car because governments are just crap at it. This is why private enterprise exists. They're just far better at resource allocation, and just don't use it. Just don't use it. Bitcoin is legal, not using just their wallet. So yeah, jump across to a different wallet, start using it. Really, really important. And use Lightning. Jump into Lightning. Kraken should actually implement Lightning. That would be really, really cool.
That would be more useful than proving their funds. I'm picturing a really chill assembly line, Josh, as they work on the car for 16 years. Every year they send us a picture, like the progress on the car. Like, we attached a fender this year. Next year, we hope to put the rear end on, and all the workers are kind of sitting in lazy chairs with
drinking a beer.
Yeah, because they only have to build one car every 16 years. It's a pretty sweet deal. Let's see. Eric Benz, do you have the government designing your Bank of America wallet? Is E-Trade going to go into the U.S. government business soon?
Sorry. Yeah, so this whole thing around the wallet and experience and all that, we still haven't received or seen an intuitive, consumer-driven, decentralized wallet experience for Bitcoin. I don't like talking about Bitcoin Cash, but I will say that a great Bitcoin user interface wallet is the Bitcoin.com wallet, in my opinion. I think it's just super intuitive. I wish it defaulted to Bitcoin because sometimes it's confusing. I think that's by design, I guess. But we need fucking intuition. We need more connectivity with the human minds and how people want to work. And
that's smoking grandma needs to use it.
Right, exactly. Let's talk about interesting things instead of Coinbase, instead of Kraken improving the treasury. What about NFTs on Bitcoin using Lightning? This kind of messaging and the whole announcement of institutionals and regulation and Russia and it's like, can we focus on the future of finance, please? All this noise, all these distractions, all these fun and games, right, are all there to distract from what's clearly happening. And that's, we are part of the fucking future. We are part of something bigger than they can comprehend, right? Something massive. And we all know what that means. And I think the world is now waking up and appreciating and accepting that we know what we're talking about. And I think you're going to see over the coming few years this continued growth and maturation that we've been used to seeing and being a part of, but now all these new people all over the world are going to fuel this acceleration and development and regulation. Rega who? Rega what?
Rega what?
Rega he?
I managed to find the because I took a photo of the Chivo office. I want to show you because it's crackers. Let me show you. Can you see this? So this is the Chivo. Can you see this photo?
Yeah.
No,
look at this. This is in El Salvador.
What's the photo?
This is in San Salvador. And can you see the Chivo logo up there?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a wallet no one's ever heard of, like which was built by a company no one's ever heard of. It's exactly.
I got a few companies like that.
But at least they got their sign on the side of the building. Now we can trust them. I agree with what Eric was saying. There's still not really an easy wallet like a Fisher Price Bitcoin wallet with a green to send and a red to stop. And you wouldn't even need to translate it if you did it right. I mean, sure, there might be some confusion. I've always wondered, do people in other countries play with paper airplanes? The floppy disk on the save icon is getting really old in the teeth. But other than that kind of localization, it shouldn't be that much. It should be send, it should be receive. Dan, Eve, your thoughts about open source Bitcoin wallets and Chivo wallets and such?
Well, I think it's a step in the right direction that they've taken on the criticism about Chivo, and they've got another party on board. maybe it's a sign that actually there was something nefarious going on. Like some dude in Athena did a bit of a, update user wallets, set user wallet ID equals mine, where balance is greater than X or something. I don't know. And just shifted them some coinage over. Obviously, a lot of people were reporting that their balances were disappearing. And maybe they just realized that they suck at rolling stuff out like most governments do. They maybe overfunded it. They spent 95% on a really nice building with a great flashy sign on the top, and the rest of the 5% went into development. But either way, it's an acknowledgement by getting another company in that they want to better it, right? And that's a good sign. On wallets, I don't think it's open source, but and I don't it's also probably it's custodial as well. But wallet of Satoshi is actually pretty simple for as far as a Lightning wallet goes. It's really simple. You have a balance there. It's the hardest part is for some people is still just being able to send normal Bitcoin onto their Lightning wallet. But I think it's quite simple. But nothing's. I think the problem is that there's so many fancy things like going with, say, Ethereum with is there even a MetaMask is a really nice and simple wallet to use if you're an Ethereum user. Is there even a Bitcoin wallet that's like that? That's a Chrome sort of add-on that's non-custodial, that's a Web3 type wallet? Is there one? Does anyone know that?
Anthony DeOrio had that one that was built into the browser. I think you had to download your own keys. I forget the name of it.
But yeah, I think
it was CryptoKit, no? Or Rush Wallet.
CryptoKit, yeah, and Rush Wallet, yeah. Good one, Eric.
Yeah, so
there's this muscle. This muscle's working, flexing. Right?
You're probably thinking, I wonder if I can get my private keys out of there. Never too late to get that.
I'm like messaging Anthony.
I'm like, oh yeah, I remember
now. on the Lightning front, there was Jewel, which came out very early, too early, in fact, so no one used it, and the project kind of went stifled. But then there's a great project coming out from the Germans, and it's a B for the logo. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a Chrome extension type Bitcoin Lightning wallet, which you can connect to your own node and things. It's very good, and it also connects Allen bits, I think, as well. I'll have to find out what the name is. I'm going to go find out what the name is because it's a good wallet.
It does seem like something that we need again. As Dan was saying, MetaMask is really sharp, especially the way it can trade through Uniswap and other things. So you can trade, this Ethereum for some other coin to get your NFT or whatever you're trying to buy. We're running out of time. We're supposed to go to the last question. We're going to talk about the Matt Damon Crypto.com commercial again. Yes, that's right. Again, I played it for you months ago. I played it for you again. And now it's in the New York Times. As the New York Times magazine says, why is Matt Damon shilling for crypto? Just buy it, he seems to suggest. What are you, a wimp? And that's directly from the New York Times magazine. As we know, yesterday, South Park mocked Matt Damon's cryptocurrency advertisement in a new season premiere, which we have here in the lowest possible quality, taped off of television. Not even sure if the sound will work. Let's give it a try from last night's South Park.
Damn Bob! What does Matt Damon say on that Bitcoin commercial? Fortune favors the brave! My dad said he listened to Matt Damon and lost all his money. Yes, everyone did! But they were brave in doing so! We have to stand up for ourselves, you guys! I say we go right to the principal's office and tell him what's up, bruh.
Everyone lost their money, but they were brave in doing so. One more chance to celebrate my favorite Matt Damon commercial. Dan, Eve, now that you heard South Park make fun of it time and time and time again, the whole internet's laughing at Matt Damon. I'm the only one that takes the commercial seriously. Fortune favors the brave. Dan, Eve, your thoughts on this tremendous commercial?
I think it's the commercial was cool, right? It was a very kind of awe-inspiring commercial. They had the astronauts, they had like Columbus discovering America. They had it was like you said, it was like a museum, right? It's all the best parts of a museum and the kind of most exciting, adventurous type parts of history all rolled into one. It was a bit kind of silly, just like comparing it to like buying some Bitcoin or shitcoin from crypto.com. Obviously a bit slight stretch there, like the Wright brothers flying an airplane and like buying a shitcoin from crypto.com. But it was an adventurous advert, and I think if the story would be obviously completely different. If Bitcoin was 100K right now and everything, Ethereum was like 5K, then they'd be shutting up. They'll be whining about something else about Matt Damon. But it's because the price has dropped. It's everyone comes out of the woodwork. They've got nothing to say when the price is pumping. They know that they're all dumb enough now not to say, Bitcoin's going to die, because you're just an idiot if you say Bitcoin's going to die. So they just wait for the price to go down and they go, told you. Matt Damon getting everyone into trouble, brave, and but at the same time, that South Park episode looks absolutely incredible and I can't wait to watch it.
The other thing I've seen recently is they're calling out all the football players, all the boxers and such that took their money in Bitcoin. Of course, everyone doesn't realize it's the same thing as Elon Musk bragging about how easy it is for him to hodl. These guys don't live paycheck to paycheck. They're not spending their money on next month's rent. Yeah, they're down 30% now. They're not selling. They're investors. They're going to hodl that. They're going to ride it out. The football players will be fine. And another thing I love about this commercial, and I've always highlighted it whenever we talk about it, is this commercial is the biggest brag ever for you, for the people that have been in crypto for the last 5 years or 10 years, for the people who have suffered, the people that lost it all and made it all and lost it all and made it all. You are the brave, right? You've already made your bold bets on Bitcoin. I agree with poor Cartman and his friends, Kyle or whatever, the flip off guy was, I forget, but his father lost all his money because he's brand new. So yes, sadly, Matt Damon is going to fleece the new people, but what a pat on the back for the adventurous people that led us there, which is of course us, the Bitcoiners. Ben, Ark, your thoughts on this commercial, which now is so worth the money. Like, talk about being worth the money. You get a whole South Park episode making fun of you 3, maybe 4 times. Like, South Park just makes fun of Bitcoin now. Like, that's how far we've come. Fortune favors the brave.
I mean, they're guns for hire, aren't they, these people? So you give them enough money, they'll do anything. And like, hopefully Matt Damon will look in the mirror and think, and we'd watch the South Park episode, laugh a little bit, and then think, well, actually, maybe they got a point. Maybe some parents who don't know what they're doing, maybe they're going to lose some money now. And maybe that's because I said this thing in an advert and I drove them towards that thing anyway. But I suppose ultimately he can just think that if they're gonna go through that process, then they're probably going to go through it on their own at some point anyway, through some other avenue, some other way. But more to the point, I found the name of that. Let me share this. I found the name of the Lightning wallet, which is in browser. It's called Albi, and it's free and open source, and it's by some very great German developers. So check that out if you want a Lightning wallet in your browser. And it's actively being developed, and they're doing some cool stuff with it, which I wish I could remember so I could tell you more about it. But it's a good wallet. It's well worth looking into. But yeah, Matt Damon. I mean, goodness me, like, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, like, hats off to them. They've just got their finger on the pulse, haven't they? And there is something I like about the fact that they have an eye on our little world, or it's quite a big world now, I suppose. But when they talk about NFTs or something, or now when they're talking about this Matt Damon advert, like, clearly they're aware of our universe, and the things which annoyed Bitcoiners probably about the Matt Damon advert also has annoyed them as well. So who knows? Maybe they're Bitcoiners, and maybe they don't like this sort of shitcoin evangelizing by named face celebrities, this blind shitcoin evangelizing for,
Well, if Bitcoiners looked any better, they would use them instead of Matt Damon.
That's very true.
And Matt Damon's a very specific celebrity. He was in Good Will Hunting. He's seen as a smart celebrity. You could also see this as Jason.
He was in Team America.
Jason Bourne. This is like a James Bond like celebrity marching down there. He's masculine and rugged. Fortune favors the brave. So it was a very specific pick with Matt Damon. Josh Segala, your thoughts on the Matt Damon ad? Then we're going to Eric.
Oh, I don't know. Whatever. I don't care.
Oh, come on. It was on South Park. It's they've renamed the arena. This is the greatest advertising coup in Bitcoin history.
Hey, all I can say is, when the kid at school says, sorry, I can't believe it increased by 1,500%. And the professor says, "Oh, I'm sick of hearing about Bitcoin. Nothing can rise that much without and not be a scam." And he says, "No, I was talking about the price of college tuition going up since 1980."
Oh, college loan humor. Eric Benz, your thoughts on the crypto.com commercial being featured on South Park, the greatest show ever, the greatest commercial ever?
Being here in LA, I'm very excited that crypto.com is attempting their crypto takeover. Getting a superstar of Matt Damon's stature to present himself as a crypto visionary and thought leader in this space is a phenomenal achievement. They must have paid him a significant amount of coin in order for that to happen. And kudos. Eric from crypto.com has done a wonderful job. And if their wallet was actually able to be used and it was a really nice experience, I'd probably use it myself, but I don't.
It is a good point. Shout out to Matt Damon. All he had to do was walk across that green screen set. He had to read these lines like he's read 1,000 lines before, 1,000,000 plays and such. And at the end of the thing, when he's looking at the thing and you're like, I should invest. Matt Damon has dollar signs in his eyes. That's because he's already getting paid. Once again, like the Bitcoiners that are patting themselves on the back, Matt Damon's already out of there. He's already cashing the check, buying the Tesla, whatever he wants. But we're running out of time, so we're going to move on to predictions. Dan, Eve, do you have a prediction about the future?
I predict that that crypto.com have got another advert with Matt Damon, and surely they're going to follow it up, and they'll be like, right, the price is down, but buy now. And they'll be, I don't know, maybe like some sort of, they'll do another play on history of these events, like the biggest turnarounds in history. And I don't know, I think there's going to be an advert coming out to take advantage of like the shopping season prices of Bitcoin right now.
I'd like to see it. It could do a reference to Sex in the City, like losers die on their Pelotons. Winners trade Bitcoin at crypto.com. Oh, Ben Ark, a prediction about the future?
No, this week I'm going to work on Diagon Alley, which I've been wanting to work on for ages. And that's like an Allen Bits extension, which uses Nostar. And it means that it's like an idea for like a market, like dark market thing, not dark market, like a censorship resistant market. I haven't really like built it, like experimented properly with it to see if it would work. So I'm quite excited about having to play with that this week. Hopefully it will, and it won't be crap. But if it is, you'll never hear of it ever again. But if it works, then I'll talk about it next week. Hopefully, if it's finished.
Nobody ever talks about their losers. Josh Shigala, prediction?
No, I think no, there's no prediction. I'm sorry. I need a prediction market.
The well is dry. And Eric Benz, a prediction about the future?
Well, the future is right behind me. The cool thing is that the future is so green. It's so lean and green and mean, and I love it. And the point is that it's what we make of it. And we're continuing to push boundaries. If we don't push boundaries, we never create opportunity. So the future is quite an exciting space, and it's quite an exciting place to be in. And, we're here building it, and everybody else is benefiting from it. So enjoy.
Yeah. I'll piggyback on that.
There you go. Dan, Eve, a story of the week. Go ahead.
Story of the week. I'm finally over COVID. It was this is a non-crypto story, but I was able to leave like a family outing because all three of us had COVID. So we were able to leave the house legally today, and we weren't going to be stopped by the COVID Gestapo. And we went out took a trip to Lidl. It was like, I don't know, it was like the bloom of a new era. That was cool. That's my story of the week.
It all turned out okay. You can wear your pajamas wherever you want.
It's the
So
second time.
happy for Ben.
Second time you dropped the Lidl in the show, by the way.
It is, yeah. I'm
weird.
sponsored. Yeah. Fortune
Obviously,
favors the
sponsorship.
Lidler.
All right, Ben Ark, do you have a story of the week? Go ahead, Ben.
We're doing stories as well. Not really. No. Not really. No. I need to get out. No, I haven't really. It's been a very unproductive
On
week.
LN Bits, you made
No.
Monster.com. It's like a Twitter thing. Say the name.
No, yeah, no. Well, no, well, that's not. I mean, like, yeah, Nostar.com. You can have a look at it. It's like a Twitter thing, but Virchoff has forked it and like improved it a lot. So the new version is called Brannel, which I'm using. But I'm using. So he forked my thing and then improved it a lot. Then I forked his thing and then didn't improve it, but changed it slightly.
Stop forking each other.
We keep fucking each other. But he's it's great. Yeah, check it out. Have a look at it. But no, that's. I mean, I didn't do anything with that this week. I didn't do anything productive this week. I was a fail this week completely. But it's January. January is such a miserable month, isn't it? Like after Christmas, the weather's crap. Like it just sucks. I want to get out of January. I mean, we're out of January now. I suppose it's February. But Happy New Year to our Chinese friends, I suppose. The story of the week is the lacy. So in China, they give these little round envelopes to kids, and they have money in. And there's this cool one of the main organizers of the Bitcoin Hong Kong group. They make these things called lacy, Bitcoin lacy, and it's like it's a withdrawal voucher. It's beautiful as well inside a red envelope, and they make thousands of them, and then people can buy them and then give them to their kids. And it has Bitcoin in like on Lightning, so they can scan it and get the money from Lightning, and that uses LN Bits in the back end as well. But yeah,
Lacied with Bitcoin.
Lacy. I feel bad because I got a website. I need to get better at like making a note of all these things before we start the show. But yeah, that's very cool. And I saw those knocking around on the Telegram group because it's obviously the Chinese New Year. And that is huge. Like it's a huge a big event, and the technology works brilliantly for it. Like if you're going to give away money, you gave cash before, but people don't want cash anymore. They want digital money. So this is the technology you need to use. So yeah, that was great.
And it's great to see the Hong Kong Bitcoiners upgrading. I know they used to do that with Bitcoin, normal on-chain Bitcoin, but that's too expensive now. So now they can do it with Lightning. That's great to see it coming forward. Josh Shigala, do you have a story of the week?
Yeah, I also recovered from the Rona. I still got a little bit in the throat there, but yeah, it was 2 days. Well, 1 day of sort of fever. Second day was coming less, but then like a week and a half of just being tired. And but I'm back, so it's really good to have that over and done with and get on with life. And now I'm back. It's been tricky because over Christmas, you know, our community has been doing its thing, and I sort of disappeared because I was just tired and needed a holiday, and then I got COVID. But it's great to go back and start interacting and start working again and get on with 2022.
All right, Eric Ben, special guest for the week. What have you been working on? What's your story of the week?
What have I been working on? What the fuck I haven't been doing? Jesus. But no, since being in the space for a long time, you see a lot of shit, and especially being in this market, the cool thing about working in crypto and starting so many really like cool, successful businesses, and also like failing a bunch of times, is that we move now at such a fast-paced speed. Everything is quite like on point, and we think faster, and we're smarter. We have better intellect. And I go out on the streets and I'm walking around and I can't stand anyone. I just can't deal with people in CVS or at fucking Starbucks or on the streets. I literally, like, people, it's like zombie apocalypse. Literally, can you please be on my level? Can you please understand what I'm saying? You want me to slow down? Okay. I would like a tall, flat white in a larger cup. I don't need any fucking questions. I don't need it to be confusing. And these people are just not with the program. And we need to do a better job of educating, and we need to do a better job of on-ramping, and we need to do a better job of dealing with the youth of tomorrow, because these are the leaders and visionaries that we all want to take over. We're not going to get anywhere if we don't fix these problems. And so, I think it's a testament to a lot of the people in the space, including myself and, you guys obviously being around for so long. And, I decided to take all the knowledge I've done in crypto for the past 10 years, wrap it all up into a big joint. No, I'm joking. Wrapping that up into pursuing my passion and my interest, which is to redefine and remove the stigma associated with this marijuana leaf and really shape the future of finance. So CanaDAO is a project that I'm contributing, as well as a lot of other quality execs from the space over the years, including John Matonis and a lot of other Bitcoin people, to really help redefine what cannabis is and how important both for industry as well as humanity it's going to be moving forward. So please feel free to check out canadao.org. We are on a mission and have a very, very clear vision, and we're going to need an army, and an army is what we're built. And the future of finance is pretty green, and I'm excited.
One quick thing I have to add as well. A friend of ours has started Assange DAO to free Assange. He's working very strong on that. I think it's a really cool idea. They're constantly talking in the Discord of how to deploy the funds and how to help Julian Assange. There's also a free Ross DAO as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, check it out, assangedao.org.
Well, that sounds
I like how they follow up me with Assange. It's really beautiful. Thank you.
It sounds like a great project, Eric. People can check it out at canadao.org.
Absolutely. Yeah, check it out. And we're community spirited at the moment. We've got a lot of cool things happening around ETH Denver. We'll be giving away as much weed as you could imagine or want. We've got some phenomenal things with Pizza DAO guys, and we'll be doing some cool events in the International Church of Cannabis, all around education, and not only there to showcase how beautiful cannabis is, but also communicate how important cannabis will be and currently is. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Sounds great. One of the last projects we had in this space was Potcoin. We had a guy here on the World Crypto Network. He used to do mad pot coins. It was a pretty fun show. He used to talk about Potcoin, and then somehow, I don't know how this happened, but Dennis Rodman got involved, and then he went to Korea to meet Kim Jong-un, and he wore a Potcoin t-shirt. So I can only hope that the CanaDAO will reach similar heights of whatever that was. I'm sure you can get Rodman. I'm sure the worm's available. But I don't know about Kim Jong-un. That's a hard get. But it was a great story. And, I think there's a lot to be done there, a lot of DAO work, and there's just Constitution DAO and all these other ones. So why not CanaDAO? So sounds cool. Thanks to everybody for joining us this week. Still a chance to give us a thumbs up down below, push the subscribe button. We get about 5 or 6 comments a week. I read all 5 of them. So if you guys want to give us a positive comment, that'd be cool too. Otherwise, we're running out of time. Until next week, bye-bye.